Hello and welcome to the Glowy Glowy podcast. I'm your host as always, Kel Quinn, and today I'm joined by Ronaldo Brown from Stretford Paddock and Sports Illustrated. Welcome, Ronaldo.
Welcome, thank you. I was about to say welcome back. I thought that would have been the right response, but thanks for having me.
I do love your first name. You named after the Brazilian Ronaldo.
Yeah, the story is I always tell people I was born September '98, so a month or two removed from the '98 World Cup, and Brazil, France. Obviously, Brazil won. My mum's a big football fan, and she decided to call me Ronaldo. And I've got a twin brother called Rivaldo as well, so she went for the double.
That's brilliant.
Ronaldo, all the twins.
Okay, we'll get on to United, and our last game yesterday was against Fulham, and it was a 1-1 draw. It started off very well with that fantastic goal from Cavani, but it was not a poor performance, and it's we've only got 1 point from the last nine, from possible nine, and we really are stumbling towards the Europa League final. We're not in good form. It's starting to concern you a bit.
It definitely is. I've been saying this to the lads. I think a lot of the lads have been saying it as well. Our form has basically been like directly opposite to the Villarreal form. I think Villarreal are in a really good run of form recently as well. So they've got a little bit more momentum, and we had a lot of momentum going into it as well. And I feel like we took the foot off the gas a little bit the last couple of games because realistically they've been nothing games. But I feel like United and the players should have took it as an opportunity to build up a run of good form and keep that consistency going towards final. I don't know whether United feel like they're underestimating Villarreal a little bit and feel like they can turn it on the day and that they can kind of sleepwalk into the final. I don't think that's possible, and I think we are stumbling, as you said, into it, and it is really me. Definitely, I don't think it's going to be an easy game at all. I think it's going to be. I think we're in for a stressful 90 minutes in Europe.
Yeah, 100%. Villarreal, like you mentioned there, they beat Sevilla 4-0 just recently, and that's a very impressive result. Whereas
Yeah,
we have just lost to Liverpool, Leicester, and drawn with a team who's already relegated. So yeah, you can't just turn your form on and off like a tap. You know, you need to have a bit of momentum going into the final, and we have no momentum at all now unless we can get a result against Wolves. And to be honest, in that game, it's going to be a much changed side, really, isn't it?
yeah, it will be, and you can picture us. You're going to be playing a lot of fringe players, and in the Premier League, as you've just realised and just noticed, when you're not playing your stronger sides or your second string, every team's got the possibility to beat you. And I think Wolves are a dangerous team. They always are. We've not played too well this season, but they've got the personnel to kind of hurt us if we don't turn up correct. And I think they're going to take the game serious. It's their last game. I don't think they've got too much to play for either. I think they're just around below mid-table, if I'm correct. But I think us playing fringe players and Wolves playing their strongest team, that's a very even game, which can go either way. Wolves can maybe nick it, and then you're looking at 4 games on the spin without a win going into the Europa League final. It doesn't bode well at all, and it's not the kind of form I would have liked to have seen. It's just one of those where I was frustrated with the Liverpool performance, frustrated with the Leicester performance, even though we had a bit of youngsters. I think we still had the capability to win that, but kind of worried now going into the Europa League final. If we can just turn it on, especially Villarreal, a good side. Looked at Villarreal play a little bit in the last 20 minutes or so in the Arsenal game, actually. And I remember looking at that thinking, these have got a few decent players on here. Like, not definitely not going to be a pushover.
No, they're not. And Unai Emery is like he's the Europa League specialist, isn't he? He's won this tournament I think 4 times already.
Yeah,
So that's another worrying, on him. But one positive yesterday was the fact that the fans were back in the stadium and they got to witness a sublime goal by Cavani. And there's no other player the fans would have wanted to score other than him because we haven't been able to see him live yet. And what a moment that was.
yeah. The fans love Cavani, man. Fans really do love him, and it's because he's got that little bit of hunger and that work ethic that kind of fans take to. But it was one of those where a goal like that fans deserve to see, and you could actually kind of see the little bit of difference it made in terms of the fact that the fans were there, had a little bit of a, to begin with anyway, first 20 minutes, first half an hour or so, there's a little bit of urgency. I think players had half a yard more, a bit of a pep in the step, but it kind of dwindled a little bit. I don't know what happened. I feel like United thought that they were 4-0 up rather than 1-0 up. Fulham had little moments throughout the game. I don't know why we felt so comfortable either. But it's just disappointing, really, that we couldn't get a win for the fans.
Yeah, we didn't get that second goal, and that's always a worry. That all Fulham needed to do was get one chance, and they would score, and that's exactly what happened. So it does, unless our much team side is going to win against Wolves. Like you say, we're going into this final with possibly no wins in 4 games, and yeah, we're hoping for a win now in the final rather than expecting it, aren't we? I think 2 weeks ago we would have been expecting it.
I think that's the issue. I think before this 4-game win, I think United fans were expecting the win rather than hoping, and that's the reason why we've gone into these games sleepwalking, feeling like we're not really caring too much about them, and that will just turn it on in the final, turn up and beat Real because we're obviously favourites. And I think the game's a lot more even than people may assume, and I think people are understanding that now. It's going to be a tough one, and if we're struggling against the likes of Fulham with a strong side that put out as well, it doesn't bode well for me playing against teams that have the quality that Real does have. So I'm definitely worried about it. I think United should have capitalised on the fans being there and actually trying to get a win that way. That should have been the incentive for a win. I know that they didn't have any other incentives because season's basically over in the league. Second place was more or less done and dusted. Top 4, but I think because fans were there for the first time, I thought United players should have tried rewarding them with a win, especially after all that's gone on recently.
Yeah, and if history's anything to go by, this final is going to extra time and penalties because there's never been a goal between United and Villarreal.
Nah, but rules records are there to be broken. I don't think that was going to happen in the way we've been defending without Maguire as well. If Maguire's not fit, I think there definitely might be goals in it, and then we're going to have to throw caution to the wind, possibly get a goal ourselves. I don't see it finishing 0-0 after the 90 minutes, to be honest.
It looks as if Ollie is preparing to play Tuanzebe alongside Lindelof. It doesn't by last night instead of Bailly after his performance against Liverpool. Maguire still on crutches. Doesn't look like he's going to make it. So it looks as if it will be Tuanzebe and Lindelof in the final. What would your 11 be in the final?
I'd go for De Gea. I'm a David guy. And then I'll go right back. I'll go Wan-Bissaka. Probably centre half side Lindelof and Tuanzebe. Tuanzebe's been decent, to be fair, in this little showing. By with the 2 games in 48 hours that he took, might took a little bit out of him as well. And he's not really been able to get into much run of form. In fact, he hasn't been bad, but I think it'll be Axel that starts alongside Lindelof. And left back will be Luke Shaw. I think he will go for the dreaded DM partnership of Matt Fred, with McTominay and Fred in midfield. I think he'll put Pogba on the left, Fernandes in the hole. I think he'll put Rashford on the right. I think there's been talk that people may, Solskjaer might actually opt for Greenwood instead of Rashford, but I don't see that happening. I think Rashford will play on the right, which he's obviously not his best the way he doesn't perform, and Cavani up front as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be down to, especially given our form, it's going to be down to a bit of individual brilliance from Fernandes, Pogba, or Cavani to get us the win. Would you agree?
Right, you don't believe in no individual brilliance for Rashford at the moment.
No, he's not playing very well,
No.
and he'd probably be lucky to start the final.
Not played well for months. I don't think he's had a very good season. I think his stats have been inflated. I think his stats look good, but in terms of United fans that are watching him for 90 minutes every day. He's not performed well.
No, I don't think he
No.
has. And I don't think Greenwood should be dropped for him in the final. Ideally, we want to see them both play. But if he's going to play the Fred McTominay pivot, I want to see Greenwood in there instead of Rashford.
The reason why McTominay and Fred have to play together is because people don't feel like, well, Solskjaer doesn't feel like Pogba can play in midfield in that pivot, because I don't think McTominay and Fred or the other midfielders are good enough for Pogba to be able to play alongside him. If you looked at the likes of Liverpool when they've been really good and City when they've been really good, they was even able to play De Bruyne and Silva in the midfield because Fernandinho as a DM was so good. And you're looking at the likes of United and they've got McTominay and Fred. We haven't got players that, I said it on Paddock the other day, like if you was able to get like a really, really top class, European class, world class CDM, he'd be so good, it would almost allow you to play Pogba alongside him, because he can almost half do Pogba's job defensively, and he's good enough to do that, to cover the ground. And then you're able to then put the likes of Greenwood and Rashford and whatever up in the front three, and you don't have to accommodate Pogba in the team by putting him left wing. But unfortunately, we don't have that kind of midfielder. Fernandinho allowed City to do that for years, and Fabinho's allowed Liverpool to do the same. It's just like, if you've got that anchor in your midfield, it allows you to be more adventurous with the midfielders that are alongside it.
Yeah, Paul Scholes has been saying recently that we should sign Harry Kane at all costs. But in my opinion, I think a defensive midfielder and a centre back should be our number one priorities, and then maybe a right winger as our third priority. I don't think a striker should be our priority this summer, considering we've got Cavani signed up for another year. What's your thoughts?
I agree. I don't think forwards are our main priority. We've got Diallo and Greenwood on the rise, and I think they can emerge. I like the little bits of seeing Diallo. I think he's a bit young, a bit lightweight at the moment, but I think he's got talent and ability there. And it's one of those where obviously Jadon Sancho looks like he's nailed on to come, but I think right wings are more of a priority than up front is, especially with, I think strikers are almost becoming old fashioned in the game anyway. Like, you like more just a bunch of inverted forwards, but I think a striker isn't like a non-need. It's just that we've got needs more important. A CDM is number one, in my opinion. McTominay and Fred aren't going to win you anything, and regardless of what you put up front. And the centre half is definitely, always has been a need, but I think a centre half is less of a need than a CDM. I think it'd be CDM that's the biggest need, and then I think right wing and centre back are about the same, and strikers definitely last.
Okay, realistically, who would you like us to sign at CDM and centre back?
Do you know what? I don't really know. I've heard Botman and the like, and likes that kind of player being thrown out there, but apparently there isn't any major great CDMs out there to choose from. And people are saying Declan Rice. I don't think he's like a major upgrade. I think he's a bit of an English tax on that. An English decent player, once he gets gassed up a little bit. So I remember a couple of years ago, like Tonali, the Italian youngster. I think that he's nailed on to stay in Syria and go to the on top clubs there. But can you hear that? But this is what I'm talking about. But it's a bit of a difficult one.
What about Wilfred
But then
Ndidi?
I'm not sure. I think when the likes, with the way that United spend on the United tax, likes of Wilfred Ndidi, Kante, and these type of players, they're going to cost too much. I think in Calvin Phillips, like, there's a player that are just going to be slight upgrades. I think United want like a marquee player in that position. You don't want any lateral moves, and because once you play for United, United's a different thing. But I don't know. I think any player that United go in for, it's going to cost a lot, and it's going to hamper your ability to get other people in as well.
Do you think it's likely then that our CDM will be someone from Europe who's a bit more unknown?
Yeah, I think it will be. I think it might be on the cusp of being unknown or slightly known, or just young and up and coming. United like to sign young players. But whoever comes in is going to have a lot of pressure. because it's a position that I think all United fans realise now is a need. Fred and McTominay aren't it. Fred costs 50 million. So it's going to be a tough fight to win this with them.
Okay. Yesterday we seen that Bruno Fernandes won
Sorry, can I pause this?
Yes, no problem.
Yeah, I'm on a Zoom.
Okay, Bruno Fernandes recently won the Smart Aussie Player of the Year again for the second year in a row. Do you think he was a worthy winner, or do you think Luke Shaw was a bit unlucky not to get the nod?
Bruno's had all the stats and all the accolades, and he's definitely up there. But I thought Luke Shaw's become the best left back in Europe this season. I've actually noticed that Luke Shaw's form has dipped actually in the last couple of games. But don't know whether he's got a little bit of performance fatigue because he was being so good week in, week out. But I'm not sure. I believe it's one of those where it could go away. You can't argue, but I would say Luke Shaw is definitely my player.
Yeah, it's a hard one because we're probably nothing without Bruno. But then Luke Shaw has been so brilliant this year. You could have given it to either of them. Aaron Wan-Bissaka.
And Luke Shaw's got the storyline as well, obviously, because it's a major improvement, whereas we know what we expect from Bruno.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Aaron Wan-Bissaka yesterday, he's had a good season. And we know he's really good one-on-one defender. He's definitely improved the offensive side of his game. But yesterday, again, the defending at the back post wasn't good enough. He gets sucked into the middle and left the Fulham inside left to just head it into the far post unmarked. That's definitely the side of his game that he needs to work on.
Yeah, Wan-Bissaka's always there. I mean, we've always criticised him. He pulls a sleeper on that post a lot. It's not just today. He's done it live in the Champions League. He's done it constantly. I think he gets caught out of position a lot, and he relies on his 1-1-B defending and his athleticism. You know what I'm saying? But it's one of those where you kind of so young, he's 22. Time kind of in that game, but if it does cost us in big games, it's going to be a bit of a problem. So he has improved, but he definitely needs to improve, like you said, defending at the back post.
Okay, we'll finish off by asking you for your prediction for the final. Do you think United will get a win?
Yeah. Do you know what, Cam? I'm gonna go for a 2-1, a bit of a safe prediction. I think it might be 1-1 going into the last stages, and I think Greenwood comes on and gets the winner as a star boy, and then 2-1. I won't be surprised if he even goes to extra time, as you said, but I think United get the win. I wouldn't be surprised if both penalties, but I think 2-1 is my prediction.
Well, I hope you're right. Okay, go ahead and leave it there. Thanks for coming on.
What are you predicting? I don't get your prediction.
Yeah, I'll go with the same. I think we'll win 2-1, and Cavani and Greenwood with the goals.
Yeah. What do you say? I can't hear you.
I think we'll win 2-1, and Cavani and Greenwood will get the goals.
I hope your prediction comes true as well.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, we'll leave it there. Thank you for coming on, and hopefully have you on again sometime. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm sorry about the circumstances, but thanks for having me anyway.
No problem at all. See you later.